everybody, so we've got a fun review today as we're discussing Pet Sematary Bloodlines. As we delve deeper into the spooky season, what a better opportunity than to delve deeper into Stephen King's Pet Sematary with this brand new prequel that's debuting October 6th on Paramount+. Not sure if you're well aware of that or not, Paramount Plus isn't the greatest as far as advertising these things. Set in 1969, a young Judd Crandall dreams of leaving his hometown of Ludlow, Maine behind, but soon discovers sinister secrets buried within and is forced to confront a dark family history that will forever keep him connected to Ludlow. When it comes to Pet Sematary, as a massive Stephen King fan, it's personally one of my favorite stories, and every iteration I've enjoyed to some degree. The 89 film I still think is the best of the interpretations. The remake, it was okay. And Bloodlines is a prequel to that remake where Judd Crandall was played by Jonathan Lithgow. But for all those people that I guess wanted to thirst over a young Judd Crandall, this might be the movie for you. Never have I been someone that is anti-prequel or anti-remake, because I definitely think in the right context there are some interesting things you could add to the backstory of this franchise and elaborating on events that we only had snippets of before. If you remember Judd's story to Lewis about Timmy Batterman and what encompasses that tale, and you ever desired an entire film telling that story, that's basically the gist of what Bloodlines is about. Much like a lot of prequels, unfortunately Pet Sematary Bloodlines covers a lot of ground that's already familiar while not attempting to do anything that's new or interesting as we follow this younger version of Judd. As the title implies, there is a family connection to the burial grounds as we uncover that connection and the evil that lurks in the burial ground that we're already well aware of, with little to no excitement or sense of urgency as the plot progresses. For being a relatively short film at under an hour and a half, this film just drags. One of the best elements to the original Pet Sematary is the overall dark, creepy atmosphere, which is non-existent in Bloodlines. There's little to no suspense or tension, even as they attempt to try and evoke some horror with chase sequences and gross out body horror, which, to give the film some credit, the body horror at large does look pretty solid. There's one scene in particular that did gross me out a bit, and it's a scene involving this girl's foot and the flesh being pulled away from it. But other than that short moment, I wouldn't describe any sequence in the film as frightening or horrifying, even as we're watching Timmy and these other characters run around this town reanimated. Sadly, like a lot of modern horror, this film is riddled with extremely cheap, annoying jump scares. I'm not anti-jump scare. I think when utilized well, they can be done effectively, but the ones in this film are just cheap. I mean, there's a jump scare in the intro of the movie for some reason, I guess just to get a jolt out of you while Judd's giving this intro speech, and that's on top of the overabundance of giant trucks driving down the street that we all know from the original, which I guess is to remind you that eventually in the future, one of those trucks is going to run over Lewis's kid. I do get for brand recognition you have to call this film Pet Sematary Bloodlines, but there's a sheer lack of Pet Sematary in this Pet Sematary film. The most you really get as far as Pet Sematary shenanigans, I have one dog that gets run over in the beginning by Judd, and he pops up here and there, but he's not a main central focus to the main crux of the story. There's like one or two sequences where he bites somebody, but otherwise there's not a lot of pet action going on. It's all about the reanimated humans. It's kind of a shame that they assembled such a decent cast for the film and then didn't really give them much to do, since you have Henry Thomas portraying Judd's father, and he was pretty solid. Then you have Pam Grier having some solid lines too. David Duchovny, I don't know what's going on with David Duchovny, but it really feels like in a lot of the roles I've seen him in the last couple years, whether it's something like this or The Craft Legacy, he's kind of just sleepwalking through a lot of these roles. That's kind of just his personality at this point. And that does continue on in this as he plays Tim's father. Ironically, a lot of what bogs down the cast of Bloodlines is Judd. Judd is just not a very compelling character in this film. His characterization and his motivations overall feel very weak, and despite him being the lead of this movie supposedly, he feels like an outsider to most of the horrific events that transpire in the town around him, and only eventually he gets involved towards the end when he's trying to deal with Timmy Batterman. For the majority of the film, you're following all these other characters in the town being terrorized by the evil entities, while Judd is just off learning about his horrific family's connection to all the crazy stuff happening in town. And due to the fact that this is a prequel, prequel, and you more than likely know the story of Pet Sematary in some shape or form, whether you've read the book or watched the original film or the remake, you more or less know what to expect from the ending. It's an extremely low-stakes story. Part of me feels bad to say that the movie is just kind of pointless, but I would say that it is kind of unnecessary viewing unless you are just a massive Pet Sematary fan and you want to have a fully fleshed out movie about this story that Judd told Lewis as a warning to not go and bury your dead child in the Pet Sematary, which he ended up doing anyways, so it was kind of a moot point. But more or less, Pet Sematary Bloodlines is a pretty unnecessary prequel film. As a prequel, it never feels like it tries to justify its existence. If anything, it just feels like a movie that's trying to cash in on the brand recognition of Pet Sematary and just to throw something out there on your streaming service to watch during the horror movie season, since it's going to be on streaming and you don't got to go anywhere to watch it in a movie theater. Once you get a chance to check out the film, make sure you share your thoughts down below. How did you feel about the film? Did you like the film? Did you not like the film? Share all your thoughts down below, because part of the funness and the conversation with you guys in the comment section down below. And thank you guys, as always, for videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you like on the video and also subscribe to the channel so you update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Next time, I'll see you guys later.